Hey crew, welcome back to another month of Metabolic Stability. Missed you last month. Hopefully you stepped over and took a look at the spin-off Farm Strong Strength Academy that we're doing. So we got double your viewing pleasure. But let's get back to the point at hand here, the clean. Specifically with the kettlebell, there's a few key points that make the kettlebell clean a little bit hesitant, daunting, whatever the word you want to apply to it. One is the whack wrist issue. Secondly is the uncoachable issue, if you can't coach people through it because you're trying to do the clean from the hang position or fluid position. And thirdly, it's looked at as a positional lift just to get the weight up into the rack position. We're going to try to overcome some of that today with what we call the wrap clean and a really TM, if you will, coaching cue that we're going to share in a second. You're probably thinking, Troy, why do you have that massive kettlebell out here, a 32 kilo kettlebell, and trying to show me a base clean? And it's basically to show you that this can be a really valuable lift. We can go up in load if we just change a little bit of the holding position. So real simply put, if you take a look here, I'm gonna go to my right side. So I'm gonna grip on to the bell with my right hand first, then I'm gonna wrap, you can see that, wrap over that hand as such. So it's gonna help me have some control of the force in regards to this clean. I'm going to set up from the dead stop position. Probably when I'm doing my personal workout or any program I do, 80–90% of the cleans I do with kettlebells are from the dead stop position, whether that's double, whether that's with a wrap clean or a single arm clean, it doesn't matter to me. But this is a great way to do it. So I'm going to set up my wrap, move forward as such. All I'm going to do is be here. So I'm setting those shoulders back, getting the legs tied in, and you can see as such. So this is where that special TMQ comes in. Where me and my daughter were trained the other day. Often people, they're trying to clean like a barbell, right? If you have a little experience cleaning, that's what happens. That's where that whack wrist comes in or it flings out to the side. But if we think about it in these terms, we set up as such. I've wrapped my right, left is over. Here it is. This is the real winner of the month. I'm trying to suck my thumb. Okay? So think about that. Boom. Boom. If you have that end portion intent of trying to get your thumb to your mouth, kind of sounds weird, I know, but it's something a lot of people can associate with. I think we can lessen that flinging or this flopping that's often associated with the clean. So there you have it, wrap clean. Coaching cue is suck your thumb, and I think that'll help you be able to use the clean as a more, especially with the kettlebell, as a much more functional lift. Talk to you on the other side.
Yeah, so one of the big challenges in teaching power movements to a lot of clients is that you really have to clear up hip mobility issues and core stability issues. Now that may seem obvious, and you may think like, you're doing your planks, you're doing your bridges, you're doing things like get-ups, and that's enough, but you're gonna find people can hide a lot of stuff very easily. So what we're about to do is a drill that actually DVRT Master and firefighter Jordan Ponder came up with, which is called a lap up lunge. And the idea when he was talking about was in a lap up, you learn how to create more force against an odd object, something that doesn't normally just get deadlifted off the ground that you might see in everyday life. But what we found is this is a great way to teach people how to accelerate through the right muscles and clean up dynamic mobility issues at the same time. So what we're going to do is have Jessica go ahead. She's going to do her best power clean and get in the front load position. Now, I realize we just did a power clean, but that's in a more positional lift. We're not using it as an exercise. So even if her power clean wasn't perfect, she's just trying to get in position. She releases her hands. That's going to be important for this exercise. When you do some other power clean variations with the ultimate sandbag, not as important, but for this one it will be. Now she's creating tension against the bag. She's going to drop step lunge, and as she does so, she's going to allow the arms to open up, and then she's going to accelerate back up. Now you may ask, how does this relate to a clean? Well, for one, when she's coming down, if she doesn't have good integrity through her upper back and her core, she's going to fold and flex forward. All right, so that's for one. Two, if she has mobility issues in her hip, we're going to see it when she lunges. So if she can't lunge and maintain an upright torso, that's going to be a sign that we still have hip issues, and she's probably going to still load her lumbar spine. But three, when she comes down, right here, you can see that acceleration she must create to get the weight back up is all pure hip extension. She really can't use her lumbar spine as long as she's in an upright torso, which allows us to be a very dynamic lift. The best part is we can go from side to side, so we can see if we have asymmetries in her body as she does the movement. Where she may be able to do it really well on one side, she may have compensatory issues on the opposing side. So this lap up lunge is a great drill to really accelerate your cleans and make sure that you're loading the body appropriately.
Hey crew, welcome back again, Metabolic Stability. We're looking at another unique piece. I've got a rope here. This drill could just as easily be done with the TRX or some other type of suspension unit. But we've got a rope set up, so we're gonna use a rope. This is gonna harken to that piece of the whack wrist or the flip or the flop, if you will, that we talked about with the wrap clean. And this is finishing the lift, that gradiating the force, preparing to receive the weight in a good position. What we're going to talk about here is just holding, and it also relates to some of the stuff that you'll see in this month's Farm Strong Strength Academy regarding some stuff we do over there. Hopefully you can make those correlations, because that's what we're always trying to do, is give you the process to go project forward. So we're just going to go single arm row. You obviously can adjust your resistance by how close your feet are to the anchor point. As such here though, nice good plank position. I'm going to row up. This is tied in. This is the end range of your kettlebell clean, or any clean for that matter. Boom, I'm up tight, I'm in that rack position, my glutes are on, I finished the lift. I got a really slick rope here. So there you have it, a really simple drill. It's a nice add-on drill. If you have people having a hard time finishing that lift, this would easily go into a series, just like we often do with Metabolic Stability. This can go in a whole program to start to refine the lifts, gradiate force, finish the lift in the positions that you need to do to be effective. Talk to you on the other side.
All right guys, what we're going to do is a great drill to sort of reinforce a lot of important concepts of that one-arm kettlebell clean, most notably the ability to fight rotation. Now there's a lot of great anti-rotational drills out there, but what we're really going to use this drill for is to teach the lat engagement and the lower body incorporation that sort of correlates really well to that one-arm clean. Because a lot of people can one-arm clean and bell out pretty well, but when they come down is where they lose a lot of the components and they put themselves more through larger eccentric stress where they can get injured. So now with any lateral drag variation that we do, there's a couple of key concepts that people seem to consistently not quite grasp. One is speed. It's a slow drill. And in fact, if you want to make it more difficult, which we will be doing in some ways, is you actually accentuate slower speeds, not faster. So it's not about accumulating more volume, it's actually more about a longer time under tension. Two is we're trying to create friction from the ground. So we don't want to try to lift the USB up as we do it. We want to keep as much of it on the ground as we move from side to side. Three is body position. You've got to be adamant about not allowing the hip flexion to occur or the rotation. Even if you just do 2 good reps, that's way better than doing 5 or 6 mediocre reps. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to show you some ways that you can regress the movement to emphasize some components that are going to relate really well to that one-arm kettlebell clean. So normally when we set up, Jessica would set up with the bag on the outside of her body, but she's going to actually set the bag underneath her body, which is going to reduce the range of motion that the bag is going to have to be moved. So by her corkscrewing her arms on the ground, keeping that nice plank, locked legs, squeeze glutes, she's going to slowly pull to one side, and then she's going to hold against the handle for 1, 2, and relax, and then she's going to bring it back to the middle with the opposing hand. So we've reduced the range of motion, but we're actually increasing the time under tension. We're using what we call an iso pull. Now that does a couple of things. We'll do one more just, is that it allows me to really emphasize keeping lat tension, going to relax for a second, on both arms. So we have the plant arm that's creating tension, but we also have the outside arm that must create tension. All right? So if you have this outside arm that's relaxed, you're going to lose a lot of that anti-rotational ability upon that hip and that trunk section. Two, by actually holding that time under tension, I can look for some of the reasons or ways that she's not strong, okay? Because if we just fling the bag back and forth, we can allow her to get away with a lot of things that would be problematic and not carry over that one arm clean well. You're also going to see that she doesn't have good strength endurance, or your client doesn't have good strength endurance. strength endurance is foundational to doing more power-based drills. Now, not necessarily doing high repetition work, but being able to hold those stacked positions really well. Remember, things like core endurance are more correlated to low back health than just pure core strength. So we want to see her able to maintain those positions for some time under tension. So if you could do this for about 5 reps with that 2 to 3 second iso pull on each side, you can feel satisfied that person should have good hip and core integrity when they're doing drills like a dynamic one arm clean.